everybody, it's Mrs. Pound, and I'm back with more about earthquakes in Chapter 3.2. So we're on Section 322 about earthquake zones. Our objectives for this video are to identify where earthquakes are most likely to occur, describe the typical relationship between an earthquake zone and its magnitude, and explain how the depth of an earthquake's focus affects how it is experienced on the surface. So earthquakes are most likely to occur along plate boundaries. They have actually taken maps and they have pinpointed where earthquakes take place, and they have found that the majority of them are along the plate boundaries. Can there be earthquakes other places? Absolutely, but most of them are on the boundaries. Now, they also have observed that earthquakes with low magnitudes typically occur at divergent plate boundaries. So divergent plate boundaries tend to have low magnitudes, so not very strong because the plates, remember, at a divergent plate boundary are moving apart. There's not like they're catching on each other and hanging up or anything. They're just moving apart. Earthquakes with the greatest magnitudes usually happen more than 300 kilometers below the surface, so even deeper than this mine, but I just wanted to give you the idea that very deep. So the largest magnitudes are deep. Earthquakes that cause the most damage. You would think that the largest magnitude would cause the most damage, but it's not true. The ones that cause the most damage have a shallow focus. That's where the earthquake is taking place. So the seismic waves still have most of their strength when they reach the surface. So a low magnitude earthquake with a shallow focus can actually cause a lot more destruction than a high magnitude earthquake with a deep focus. Now, the connection between plate movements and earthquakes using the theory of plate tectonics. Convergent plates tend to produce strong, often deep earthquakes as one plate is pushed under another. And here I have a picture of the Himalayas, and they are actually crashing into each other because they're the same density. But here, those earthquakes would be deep. They would not cause as much damage, though, as a shallow earthquake. Divergent plates produce weak earthquakes as two plates separate and magma rises to fill in the gap. And transform plate boundaries often produce strong, shallow earthquakes as two plates try to move past each other. These tend to be the most devastating of all the types of earthquakes at plate boundaries because they are shallow and strong. So our objectives were to identify where earthquakes are most likely to occur, describe the typical relationship between an earthquake zone and its magnitude, and explain how the depth of an earthquake's focus affects how it is experienced on the surface. So don't forget your 5 questions, and I will be back with another video on earthquakes.